Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and me trying to do another review for another WrestleMania, this time WrestleMania 2, which I hope I do better than I did for the review for WrestleMania 1. Because the WrestleMania 1 review, I'm like, at the beginning, it's decent, then the more I'm thinking about it, it's kind of shitty when you think about it. WrestleMania 2, when I look through these matches, once again, it's kind of shitty. There's a couple stuff I liked. So it's not the nostalgia factor, but then there's a lot of matches like it's kind of shit. So this is between decent and shitty again. It's sort of the decent and I mean it's an in between, kind of like the first WrestleMania, where is that fun nostalgia of the lights are dim in the crowd, you just seeing the people in the ring and how this looks like an event that would be occupied by adults and not just thousands of kids and I just you just see chokeholds and you just see all this stuff. So there's that part of me that's like, okay, I like the atmosphere of it, and there's a couple stuff I like in WrestleMania 1 and here and 2, but there's like there's a lot of bad stuff as well. But to get to it, rate they did this differently. They've never done this again, where they were in 3 cities: New York, Chicago, and I believe it was L.A. Yeah, L.A. And did you tell that they were there were technical difficulties? Sometimes the sound would be kind of wonky. For example, for those who don't know, there was this commercial way back in the day where this old woman says, "Where's the beef? Where's the beef?" She appears, I forget, it was in the Chicago, I think it was. And you tell that first off, she does this, like, oh, should I talk now? And then she goes, she's supposed to say, "Where's the beef?" But you just go, you can't hear it at all. So at times there's sound difficulties. You tell there's like, oh shit, we gotta do this and that. Oh, first, of course, it has that great line of dialogue at the beginning of the pay per view. What the world has come to. WrestleMania 2, what the world has come to. And then Ray Charles sings. And you get a Roddy Piper promo, which is, I mean, because he was to heal a bad guy and he was going to fight Mr. T, and he says something weird. He says something, I would never shave my hair and paint myself black. And I'm going, I think there's a WrestleMania or there's a certain pay per view that you kind of, and you're the hero, by the way, that didn't you paint yourself half black? I mean, this would happen later, of course, after this, but it's just like, I like Roddy Piper. I miss the guy to death. That was one instance I'm like, the fuck was that about? Like, what was that about? I still don't understand it. To be honest, I don't know if he understood it. But I still miss the guy. First match sucked ass. Don Morocco versus Paul Orndorff. Paul Orndorff was the good guy at this point. No longer the bad guy. It was basic. It was bullshit. And it ended in a double countout. That's the best way to describe it. And they did this weird thing where the match starts, and usually when they do promos, you see the person. But here, you just hear audio. Boom, here's audio of Don Morocco. Here's audio of Paul Orndorff as they're wrestling. It's like, it just seemed awkward. That's why at times it seemed awkward when they're trying to do from 3 cities. And I guess it was shown at the same time so that if you're in New York you see it, and then you would see the Chicago and LA portions on a big screen, like pretty much a giant TV or projector. And then if you're in Chicago, you see New York, and then the event, and then see on LA and so forth. So interesting, but I understand why they never did it again. But it was interesting. Second match, Macho Man Randy Savage, his first WrestleMania versus George the Animal Steele. And I think Randy Savage is the Intercontinental Champion. It was a lame match. It was a lame match because of George the Animal Steele. Because George the Animal Steele can't do anything. Macho Man Randy Savage is one of my favorites. I love the guy. I miss the guy to death. That's right. I still haven't picked up the DVD that has this documentary on it. I have the one that has the matches, but not the other one that has the DVD. Shit. Macho Man Randy Savage is one of my favorites. Great matches. His elbows and his what do you call that? When you go up and I know there's a word for it. I fucking forgot what it was. But pretty much it was just Macho Man having to run around. He gets bit. Just choked again. Animal gets some flour, shoves it into his face. Gets some stuff from the buckle, shoves it into Macho Man's face. Macho Man does the flying elbow drop, and George the Animal Steele kicks out of the elbow drop. I'm like, what? And then pretty much he pinned Animal Steele because in a roll up, and then that bit where you put your feet on the ropes for leverage, so he won. I'm like, George Animal Steele, why would he kick out of the elbow from the top turnbuckle? I mean, that was just felt wrong. I mean, it kind of makes it like later on, oh my god, Hulk Hogan kicked out. I'm like, George the Animal Steele kicked out of it at WrestleMania 2. And when I get to WrestleMania 5, I'll remember that. I'm like, here, Hulk Hogan kicked out of the elbow drop. It's like, again, George Animal Steele kicked out of it in WrestleMania 2. And all it was just Macho Man running around, trying to do a couple things like this and that. But it's mainly, here's some flower stuff in Macho Man's face. Here's some turnbuckle stuff in Macho Man's face. It was just a lame match. George Wells versus Jake the Snake Roberts. I actually liked it because it was short, it was sweet. It was Jake the Snake Roberts, who is also a favorite of mine. His first WrestleMania. He got beaten up, but that's cool. I show that George Wells could mean something. And Jake the Snake got beaten up well. Hit him with the knee and gave him that DDT. Boom. And that's a great move, the DDT. And then when people started using it all the times to the point it meant nothing, that's another thing I hate about wrestling today. Let's use 50 moves so they mean jack shit nothing. When, boom, that DDT comes down, you're not getting up. You shouldn't get up. When you put your head down, you get slammed right into the ground. You should be knocked the fuck out. So yeah, it was short, it was sweet, and also that's one where he puts the snake on the guy, and the guy's like convulsing and stuff coming out of his mouth. That was always the image I remembered. So again, it was very short, but again, if you wonder why I'm doing this, I'm getting to the times. Yeah, the Paul Orndorff Magnificent Morocco was 4 minutes long. Randy Savage and George Steele was 5 minutes long. Yeah, Jake Roberts, that was 3 minutes long. But I'm like, it was short, it was sweet. I got Jake Roberts, I got the DDT. And I like Jake Roberts, so I'll take it. Then the last match of the New York portion was Mr. T versus Roddy Piper. I know Roddy Piper hated this match. Said it was the worst match he ever did. And honestly, It was because of Mr. T. I know that's controversial, but when I'm watching this, I'm like, this isn't the worst match I've seen. It really isn't. I mean, it's a boxing match. That's the thing. It's a boxing match that went on for 13 minutes. But Roddy Piper was doing the best that he could, and he just showed that Roddy Piper could fight. But really, it shows that Mr. T can't fight. That shit, Clubber Lang was a character. That was choreography. And I'm guessing they thought, well, Rocky 3, yeah, Mr. T, boxing. But Mr. T is not a boxer. I think he was a bouncer. And he's an actor. He was not a fighter. And this proved it. And obviously I wasn't alone because in the middle of it, people were cheering Roddy Piper when he knocked Mr. T down. People were like, yeah! And then you heard, Roddy, Roddy, Roddy. Even though he was the bad guy, the heel. So, it's not great. I liked it for that part. I liked it for Roddy. And people cheer, even though he was a bad guy. It shows that he was more of the real deal than Mr. T. And I think people, even if they didn't like him, they were respecting Roddy. Because even after the match, when they showed that Mr. T won, there was some boos. And then when Roddy went, I swear I could hear like some people say, Roddy, Roddy. And that was pretty cool. Now, of course, I remember that was the moment where Mr. T, the reason he was gassed out. He got tired so quick that he could barely move. He could barely do anything. Kind of like what Rocky did in Rocky 3 at the end. Tired him out, but it's like... And so it's like, he's trying to get Mr. T to do something, and Mr. T's like, I'm too tired. I'm too tired. And even to the point like, come on, just try to hit me. And you can tell Roddy was getting pissed. I mean, even at one point took the stool he was on, just threw it at Mr. T. So I like this for Roddy, but it's not that good of a match. I could watch for Roddy though, but yeah, it's not that good of a match. And the fact that it was one of the longest matches, that it should have been like maybe 10 minutes long. In fact, it technically was the longest match. I think that's the other thing. It was only 13 minutes, but, that technically was the longest match, and it didn't need to be the longest match. It could have been 10 minutes. Maybe cut down on the rounds or something. So then you get to Chicago. You get absolutely fucking pointless match. Velvet McIntyre versus the Fabulous Moolah. The Fabulous Moolah, I know she's considered a woman championship legend, a heel. I thought she was god-awful. I thought she's a god-awful wrestler. She was a god-awful in interviews. She looked 70 years old back here in 1985, let alone... I mean, I know she's passed away, but she lasted for a long time. And again, she looked like 70 back then. She's horrible on the mic. She's horrible in interviews, and she's horrible in the wrestling. That's why this was only like a minute long. A minute long. And I already forgot. I think this is one where she just takes the girl's hair and just slams it and just pins her. Worthless match. Another worthless match. A flag match. Nikolai Volkov versus some guy named Corporal Kirshner. And I'm like, who the fuck is Corporal Kirshner? I actually have to look him up. Former U.S. Army paratrooper and semi-retired professional wrestler. In Japan, he was under the ring name Leatherface. Never thought I'd have Leatherface mentioned on fucking this. I'm trying to see if he did anything else. He's part of the Damn It Battle Royal WrestleMania 17. Oh, he was going to be, but he was removed weeks before the event. Okay. Did he do anything else in the WWF? He was a part of the Australian tour. Considered one of the stiffest wrestlers in the WWF, his career suffered because many wrestlers were reluctant to work with him. Suspended for testing positive for drug use in 1987, and when it ended, he declined to return and left the company. And then went to Japan under the name Leatherface. And that's the career of Corporal Kirshner. And I could buy that stiff stuff because pretty much he got beaten up and then he had some punches. That's really what is some like haymaker punches. Then the manager tries to throw a cane to Nikolai Volkov. Corporal Kirshner catches it, hits the guy with the cane, beats him in like 2 minutes. Another worthless match. Man, at least the Jake the Snake, at least it's Jake the Snake Robbers and the DDT and stuff. Just these others are worthless. Now we get to the Battle Royale. No, actually, yeah, we did the Battle Royale in this. That's right. Which this should have been the last one for Chicago, but I think there was the British Bulldog versus the Dream Team. But the Battle Royale, I remember. A lot of people don't like it because it's with WWF and NFL people. But this was probably my first wrestling memory. Was this Battle Royal? It was a VHS tape. It was like a best of VHS tape, and parts of this Battle Royale was on there. And I always remember, the refrigerator. Oh my God, they're on the refrigerator! And Big John Studd putting the refrigerator Perry over, and it's like, hey, come shake your hand. And then he pulls Big John Studd down, and Big John Studd gets pissed. And then Bret Hart was one of the last people against Andre, and Andre throws Bret Hart and wins the Battle Royal. And this is when Andre the Giant was a good guy. And I like Battle Royals, first off. I enjoy Battle Royals. I think they're fun. And I like seeing the refrigerator Perry in there, and Andre the Giant, and Bret Hart. And it was fun for me. It's also my first wrestling memory. And again, William Perry, gets one guy out who's doing like a tackle on another guy, but then he gets thrown up by Big John Studd, but then he gets Big John Studd in the end. I enjoy the Battle Royal. A lot of people don't. I do. And then you get the British Bulldogs versus Beefcake and Ray Valentine. And Ozzy Osbourne is in the British Bulldogs corner, which is David Boy Smith, who would be just the British Bulldog, and Dynamite Kid. What I remember is Brutus the Barber Beefcake was absolutely useless. I don't even remember him being in the ring, or if he did, all he did was get beat up just for Grade the Hammer Valentine to come in. And then the British Bulldog, he threw someone to Dynamite Kid's head, who was supposed to have a hard head, and then falls to the ground, and they win and beat the Dream Team. And they're the tag team champions. Didn't really care about either team, so I'm like, whatever. Really, I was like, whatever. Richie Steamboat versus Hercules. Now we're getting to LA. I had fun with this match, again, only because it's Ricky Steamboat. I mean, he has the arm drays, suplex, some chops, crossbody. I mean, it's not great. It's not memorable. Hercules Hernandez. who I know has passed away since. He couldn't do much. He was just a big guy. But I like your Ricky Steamboat. I like some of the stuff he does, and he got the win, so I was fine with that. At least compared to the other fucking matches. I mean, compared to fucking Velvet McIntyre versus Moolah, that was a minute, or Cobra Kirshner, some guy no one fucking knows, and a flag match, and Macho Man versus Animal Steel, which is just a lot of biting and shoving shit in Macho Man's face. I mean, this looks like a winner, Steamboat versus Hercules. And especially the one after, Adrian Adonis versus Uncle Elmer. This is another fucking worthless fucking match. Adrian Adonis was a guy who liked to dress up in women's clothing. Kind of like before Gold Dust and shit, there was Adrian Adonis. And Uncle Elmer was this big fuck who wore overalls and couldn't do a goddamn thing because he punches Adrian Adonis and falls on his own ass. He punches a guy and stumbles and falls on his big ass. And the way he gets beat is literally Uncle Elmer tries to jump on him. Adonis gets out of the way, and the guy falls on his butt. And that was enough so that Adrian Adonis could jump on him and pin him. 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, this was fucking worthless, pointless horse shit. Then you got Terry Funk and Haas Funk versus Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana. Yeah, some body slams, some drop kicks, head to the turnbuckle, flying forearms. I think Junkyard Dog headbutts Terry Funk, and slams him on the table, which wasn't the most usual, slamming people on tables, as is nowadays. And pretty much Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana lose because Jimmy Hart, the manager, throws a megaphone at Funk and then hits Junkyard Dog in the head, which I'm like, I remember that one of the big points about Junkyard Dog was that he had a thick head. That's why he did headbutts. But wouldn't hitting him with the megaphone not do anything? Wouldn't it make sense to do that on Tito Santana if the Junkyard Dog character is supposed to have a thick head? So why don't you do that to Tito Santana and then... So they lose because of cheating bullshit. It's weird. Junkyard Dog was a crowd favorite. And you always get these shit stuff. I mean, in the first WrestleMania, it was... I got beat, even though from cheating, and then Tito Santana had to come in and bait the ref to reverse it, and then you win from a count out. In this one, you get knocked out by a megaphone and you lose. In the next one... What was that one? Harley Race. Harley Race just gives you a belly-to-belly suplex and you lose. Even though they said, oh, he got distracted from the manager. Still, he grabbed you and put you in a belly-to-belly suplex. That's it. And you lost. It's weird, like, Junkyard Dog, okay, well, he's not technical. To be honest, Hulk Hogan's not that technical. Ultimate Warrior wasn't that technical. I liked them, but they weren't that technical. But you couldn't do anything. I thought they could have done a lot more with Junkyard Dog. Even when you're not the most technical, Roddy Piper's not the most technical, but he's a brawler. Fine, use him as a brawler. When Stone Cold got hurt, he had to be more of a brawler, and he could do stuff. So you could do stuff with that. But the thing at the end of that match is Junkyard Dog, he's such a crowd favorite, and I like him as well. May he rest in peace. They could have done a lot with that character. They could have done a lot more. And they had really shit matches with him at WrestleManias. And then Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy in a steel cage. I like this match. I mean, the whole build up where in a previous show he had given Tito Bundy had given some avalanches to Hulk Hogan, and he was hurt, and his ribs were taped up, and then Mean Gene's talked with him, and Hogan's training, and he even has this, oh, the chins are going up, brother, and puts his weight on around here, and just training some more. We'll get Bundy, sort of the intensity, and that was a fun build-up, and I like the match, because this is going to be controversial. I think this match is way better than the one at WrestleMania 3. Because the Hogan Andre, when you watch that, I love the moment when they're standing toe to toe and Hogan looks like he's talking and stuff. And I think it was like Jesse Ventura going, what is Hogan saying? And just sort of that build up. But the match itself, I'll get to that when I get to WrestleMania 3. But this match I think was much better. There was more going on to it. Hulk Hogan got more of an offensive. It wasn't just bear hug. Oh, I did a clothesline and a drop kick. There was much more of an offensive, much more going on, and able to do much more stuff. And they're just going up, and King Kong Bundy's grabbing him. He's kicking King Kong Bundy down. And then even afterward, he gets by with the Brian Heenan and throws him against the cage and throws him out of the cage. And there's much more going on with this match. And again, Hogan has great promos. Energy, charisma, presence, adrenaline, and I thought it was a good match, actually. I think it's a pretty damn good match. It's an underrated one. And I like it. It's definitely one of the best. I would say it's the best match of the card. Easily. And so I just really enjoy that match. I think it's much better than the Andre one. Because Andre couldn't do much. Tino Bundy, he's a big guy, but he could do more than Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant, I respect him. He couldn't do much. You know, people say he didn't have to do much, but and when you look at the match today, it's the only reason it works is because the very beginning with the toe-to-toe and the very end where, oh, he body slammed him and wins and the crowd going crazy. For me, that's the only reason, that's the only good parts. The match itself is not that good. Here, the match itself is good, in my opinion. It's a fun Hulk Hogan match. I mean, Hulk Hogan can only do so much, but for a Hogan match, it's, I think, pretty good. So, I mean, when I look back, Orndorff versus Morocco, boring bullshit double count out. Randy Savage versus George Steele. A lot of shit stuffed into Savage's face. Savage wins by cheating. Jake Roberts defeating George Wells. Squash match, 3 minutes. But hey, I like Jake the Snake. DDT was cool to see that. So I'm fine with that one. Mr. T and Roddy Piper. I liked it for Roddy Piper, his part in it. But I think it sucked because of Mr. T. Because he got tired very quickly and he couldn't do much. Because he's not a fighter. Fabulous Moolah, never cared for her. Defeats Velvet McIntyre in like a minute. Corporal Kersher, who the crowd really loved him because I guess just USA. But no one knew who the fuck he was, and he defeats the guy in like 2 minutes. I like the Battle Royale with the NFL players. I think it was fun. It was very first wrestling memory I have. Yeah, oh, cool. Bret Hart, Andre the Giant, even the refrigerator, William Perry. British Bulldogs versus the Dream Team. I didn't care about either tag team, so I kind of didn't care about the match. Ricky Steamboat versus Hercules Hernandez. Hercules could not do much, but I liked Ricky Steamboat. So I just say I like the JYD Santana one, Ricky Steamboat one, the Battle Royale. Funk Brothers with Giancarlo Santana didn't do much for me. And I like the Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. So I guess technically, even though this is a WrestleMania that gets shit on a lot, and I can understand because there's a lot of shit on it, I would say... Oh, I gotta mention this. This was fucking annoying. I forgot about this. There's a reason before I end it. The fucking announcing. For some reason, each of the three venues, they had to have a female. I'm not saying to be sexist, but the first one, I think it's Susan St. James with Vince McMahon. No, not the first one. Fuck. Maybe it was the first one. It was just, all the time she would go, uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why the fuck is she here? Shut the fuck up. Say something more than uh-oh. And then the last one in LA was Elvira, which she had nothing to say. She was out of place in there. She didn't need to be there. She had nothing to say. But I forget who was in the middle. I have to look it up. She was actually pretty decent. She was actually pretty decent. I thought she did perfectly fine. Let's see if it says here who that is. I don't think it's going to say shit, but I don't know who the who she is in the Chicago portion, but I did. Was it Cathy Lee Crosby? It might have been Cathy Lee Crosby. That might be it. I could be wrong though. I think it's Cathy Lee Crosby. I think that's who it was. She did fine. I thought she did fine. And maybe that's because she actually was a host on something called That's Incredible. So she's actually been a host and stuff. So you have to talk. But I believe that's her, Cathy Lee Crosby. She did fine. The woman that was in the second portion of the show, but Susan St. James in the first portion, Elvira, were bad. But I had to mention that. But if I had to compare it with WrestleMania 1, I would say I like this more than WrestleMania 1. Because WrestleMania 1, I only liked Matt Bourne versus Steamboat and the Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff versus Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. This one, there's 4 things I liked. The Jake the Snake one, the Ricky Steamboat one, the Battle Royale, and the Hulk Hogan one, which honestly, I like this more than the match in the first WrestleMania. Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. Because again, Mr. T, I like Mr. T, but he can't do anything. So it's like, get him out of there. And so yeah, I would say I like WrestleMania 2 because of that. I don't know why I show you my notes, but... So yeah. I know this would be... people would be pissed, but I think WrestleMania 2 was better than WrestleMania 1. It still has a lot of shit on it, so that's why I said it's between decent and shitty. You decide, but... I looked at the numbers. I'm like, there's 4 things I liked, while there were 2 things I liked in WrestleMania 1. So that's pretty much how I'm going to judge. How many things did I like in this WrestleMania? And if it's bad, how bad was it? But, so yeah, I mean, the best match to me was Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. The worst match was Adonis versus Uncle Elmer. That was the worst match, followed by Velvet McIntyre versus Moolah. There's a lot of shitty matches on here, to be honest. To be perfectly honest. I mean, that's why I can understand the bad word of mouth this WrestleMania gets. I really can. But, so yeah, it's between decent and shitty, but, yeah. that's WrestleMania 2. I don't know what more I can say about it. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you later for WrestleMania 3.